Well, good morning. I would like to welcome you all this morning to Tea-votional. This is week number 24, so I'm pretty stoked about what the Lord is doing, and I'm just so grateful and thankful for this opportunity to meet with you every week and to share what I feel God has absolutely laid upon my heart to share with you today. So I'll just wait a couple of seconds, make sure that we are all good as far as you being able to see me, hear me. Go ahead and make your comments. Let me know you're here. I just appreciate getting to be with you every single week and share this time with you. So I will tell you straight up, I am fighting a severe headache this morning. I've had the onset of a migraine. I've taken some medicine to try to get the light auras to quit going on, but I am not surprised in the least that I've had many distractions already this morning because of the subject matter that God has given me. I know the enemy does not like it when we become transparent and vulnerable and share what God has given, especially when he knows, the enemy knows, that it will help us to be free, gives us freedoms in our life that God absolutely wants us to have. So without further ado, I am going to get started here. Those of you that are watching, can you see me okay? Is the sound okay? Like I say, when I come on to the camera, it looks differently on my end. So if you could just help me out by letting me know how it is. Okay, thank you. Appreciate that. This morning, I am going to be very open with you about a subject that I believe we all face and we all struggle with. Truth be told, if you are living and breathing this morning, you have absolutely dealt with this subject of unforgiveness. But today, I want to hopefully unwrap my heart to you, what I have been dealing with for the past several months. Kind of actually even argued with the Lord about talking about this, because once I started digging deep in his word and really focusing on this topic, it made a lot of things in my past and even some current situations to surface. And I don't like to deal with those things, but I must if I want to be free from them and be able to move forward in my life and in my ministry. So this is a bit about what that's about today. The title is Forgiveness, which is the final form of love. So to start off this devotional this morning, I want to set a little foundation with some definitions, if you will. In the Merriam-Webster dictionary, the meaning of forgive is to cease to feel resentment against someone, in quotes, an offender. The root of forgive is the Latin word perdonare, meaning to give completely without reservation. That perdonare is also the source of our English word pardon. In the Bible, the Greek word translated forgiveness literally means to let go. So yes, lately I've been struggling in a few areas of my personal life with forgiveness. And I'm talking true forgiveness. God has spoken to me so often late about this, and I have felt if I do not get a grip and settle some things that are deep in my heart and spirit, I will fall prey to bitterness, which is the absolute worst thing to become ensnared in. Why do we, especially as believers and children of the King, need to forgive? Forgiveness is at the very heart of the gospel. Colossians 3:13 states, bearing with one another, and if one has complaint against another, forgiving each other, as the Lord has forgiven you, so you must also forgive. We were born sinners against God. His word says we were born in sin and shapen in iniquity. That's his word. But he loved us enough. He sent his only begotten Son to die for us, to take on the sins of the world, and to pardon our wrongdoings, and to set us free. In the same way, we are commanded to forgive those who do us wrong, not just those who are asking for forgiveness, or those who are first-time offenders, or whose wrongs seem forgivable. Jesus famously told Peter in Matthew 18 to forgive someone 70 times 7. And he makes the sobering statement that if we do not forgive others, then our Father in heaven will not forgive us. That's Matthew 6:15. First and foremost, forgiving others is obedience. However, we also need to forgive others so that we don't grow bitter. Resentment is a very unhealthy emotion. It hurts us far more than those who have affronted us or anyone else. The Bible states this in Hebrews 12:15. See to it that no one fails to obtain the grace of God, that no root of bitterness springs up and causes trouble, and by it may become defiled. As we release unforgiveness and all the bitterness and anger that comes with it, we are freed to live and serve with real peace and joy, to grow in spiritual maturity. Let me just interject this here. Roots of bitterness, they start so small. It's just a little attitude against someone who has wronged us. Before you know it, your entire conversation revolves around the one offense. You take great offense, it grows. That root of bitterness just keeps digging down deep. And before you know it, you are entrapped and entangled in such a web of mess, of bitterness. It controls your thought process. It will bring about depression. It will bring you into states of just negative thought patterns with everything in your life. That is not God's will for us, friends. That is not God's will. Let's look at what forgiveness is not. If you have ever read the book or even a part of the book of The Purpose-Driven Life, you'll see that Rick Warren explains that many people are reluctant to show mercy because they don't understand the difference between trust and forgiveness. Forgiving others must be immediate, whether or not a person asks for it. Oh my goodness, that is one hard pill to swallow right there. Trust, on the other hand, has to do with the future behavior, and it will likely take time to rebuild or to build. He also states in his book, if someone hurts you repeatedly, you are commanded by God to forgive them instantly, but you are not expected to trust them immediately, and you are not expected to continue to allow them to hurt you. There's the difference. Forgiveness isn't sweeping things under the rug and saying what the other person did or said was okay. No. Forgiveness is also not necessarily forgetting what happened. We're human. We've got memories. Our memory bank can hold quite a bit, believe me. Depending on the situation, it may require a time of healing. But if you hold on to the transgression and pain like a trump card and play it every chance you get, you can be sure that unforgiveness is still present. And you can also be sure those roots of bitterness are getting a grip on you like you cannot imagine. But this goes against Jesus' command to forgive 70 times 7. After all, remember that God has forgiven you more times than you will ever have the opportunity to forgive someone else. Of late, I have been made to realize this was exactly what I've been doing with a few situations. I cannot and must not continue to carry this. I can't. I can't move forward in my personal life. I can't move forward in my spiritual life. I can't move forward in my ministry and try to help others if I myself are continuing to carry this stronghold, this sin and weight that does so easily beset me in the form of bitterness. So how do I break free and forgive? How then do we achieve this letting go, which can feel like an impossible task? Even if we desire it, our emotions can rise up at the least expected time and overwhelm us with anger and pain. Let me just be very transparent for a moment. There are some very dark situations in my past. I try my best not to allow my mind to go there very often at all. But when I was doing my studies on this over the past few months, I've had to go there. I've had to dig deep sometimes, and the Lord began to show me areas that I have not truly forgiven. I've said it with my mouth, but I did not act on it, and the fruit of my heart was not showing forgiveness. Through that realization, within moments, I became depressed. Within moments, I became very despondent to those around me. My husband noticed a shift and change in my mood, my spirit, my attitude. He began to question, had he done something? No, he had not. But before I knew it, I had transcended into this deep realm again because of unforgiveness. When I learned to forgive, when I learned to truly let these things go, no, I don't have to live there anymore. No, I don't have to relive the situations and replay them in my mind over and over and over again. And I absolutely do not have to physically go be connected in those situations again. But I'm really still staying connected by holding on to the grudge, by holding on to the offense and not truly forgiving. In our own strength, forgiving others in the way we have received God's forgiveness is impossible. But what does His Word say? With God, nothing is impossible. With His Spirit inside of us, we can go through a process that leads us to true forgiveness. Not lip service forgiveness. I'm talking, my friends, that gut-wrenching, deep within our heart of hearts, true forgiveness. Think about a time when you've had to ask for forgiveness. Not just give forgiveness, but you yourself needed to ask for forgiveness. How did that make you feel? When have you wronged another person? Did they extend forgiveness to you, or did they withhold it? The Bible directs us to do to others what we would have them do to us. Matthew 7:12. And so it can be helpful to put ourselves in their shoes for a moment. I have sought forgiveness on many occasions. Some have readily forgiven me. Some, not so much. And even to this day, I feel they have not forgiven me. But again, I in turn need to forgive them regardless if they have given forgiveness in return. There is such a freedom. I'm talking about a true freedom that comes from asking to be forgiven, and better yet, forgiving others when they don't seek it. Many, many, many situations in my life, I've had to forgive without the other party or situation asking for that forgiveness, thinking that there is no forgiveness necessary for their actions. But there truly was. So I had to become more like my Jesus, and I had to forgive even when I did not want to. It's not fair, you say. It's not fair. I'm always the one having to repent. I'm always the one having to forgive. I'm always the one having to reach out. Really? Think about what Jesus did for us. Truly, he bore all of our sorrows. He took on all of our sin, all of our shame, and so willingly he forgave. Reminding ourselves of the debt that God forgave us when we certainly didn't deserve it can help us forgive others. Boy, he has really, really worked me over these past few months by reminding me, you want to hold that little silly grudge? You want to stay bitter, little sister? Look what I did for you. You don't deserve what I've given you, but because you're my child, I love you. I took on the whole sins of the world. He can help us forgive others. If we have been forgiven so much, how then can we hold on to grievances committed against us? This is another step in the process. It does not mean that you must be ready at this point to voice your forgiveness to your offender. This may not ever be possible, as the person may no longer be living. You can still forgive someone without that forgiveness being accepted. It's all what's going on in your heart, in your spirit, in your mind. That person is in the hands of a just God. If you've never been able to reach out to them and receive or offer forgiveness, that's in the hands of a mighty God. You've got to still set yourself free of that burden. The devil is an expert in getting a foothold when we have made a choice to forgive, but the wound is still so very sensitive. Don't allow yourself to replay the offense over and over. Let go of the pain. Determine what you are going to choose, that you are going to choose to move forward. This is where prayer, daily prayer, is essential, as on our own we are tempted to wander back to unforgiveness. It's that human nature, my friends. We want to hold on. We want to say, yeah, but they wronged me. Yeah, but they hurt my feelings. Yeah, but, well, no buts about it. You need to let it go. If you yourself expect to get to move forward freely in God, rejoicing in the freedom of that lifted burden, I began to take a hard look at the actual word forgive. And when I started really thinking on it, it's like all of a sudden I saw it differently, as if it became a neon sign lit up and just flashing. Forgive. Do you know? Forgiveness is for giving. It's for us to give. Isn't that something? It's something that we're instructed to give to others, and quite often, especially if we want to receive it. Forgiveness is more than just saying a prayer and moving on. It's a very serious decision that you have to make over and over again. The process will most likely become uncomfortable and painful, as I earlier stated. It can bring back some feels and emotions that I don't like to deal with. But it will always be worth it in the end. I have started by making a list of my past hurts and the pains, all from things way in the past all the way to current events that continue to surface and resurface at any given time. And some can actually paralyze me in my tracks and bring me down so fast. I realize that I truly have not forgiven and let go of those things. So I've had a lot of repenting to do, most of which forgiveness was never asked of me, which makes them harder to bear. So I have made a very conscious effort to address these as they resurface, one by one, and take them to God and ask Him to help me truly forgive and let them go. I no longer want to carry this heavy burden of forgiveness. I don't. And you should not have to carry that heavy burden any longer. My friends, if you make the decision today to release, to let go, free yourself of the bitterness, Forgive those who have transgressed against you. And I'll take it a step further. You may also need to forgive yourself. Think about that one for a while. Do you need to forgive yourself of something? That's a sobering thought. But I challenge you today, my friends, don't let another moment pass you by that you hold on to that pain, that anguish. It's not doing the other person any good. It's not fazing them at all. It is completely destroying you. So I challenge you today, ask the Lord to help you, not just verbally forgive, but to truly, truly forgive from the depths of your heart and soul, because that is the final, what's it say? The final form of love. He gave us that true example when he was on the cross and he forgave the sinner right next to him just before he drew his last breath. That is the final form of love. True forgiveness. Do not continue to carry the burden of bitterness. It will destroy you. It may not happen overnight. It may happen years from now, but you will look back and you will see where you've held on so tightly to the bitterness of that hurt and that pain of unforgiveness. And you will be the one that have suffered for it. My prayer for you today, let go, let God, forgive so that you yourself can truly be forgiven. I love you all so